Jody here with MOS USA. As I'm coaching men, one of the most common questions that I get goes something like this. Hey Jody, I want to get my testosterone levels checked. How do I start? Well, if you want to know the answer to that, you come to the right place. Here's a few options. So first and foremost, if that man has a primary care physician already, that's not a bad place to start. That PCP may not be the most authoritative figure when it comes to testosterone or hormone replacement therapy, but that may be okay because if he or she is willing to run lab work for you, and by the way, here's what I recommend on that lab work. That should look like a complete blood count, lipid profile, run the basics, of course, but also run total testosterone and free testosterone. SHBG is good to have, that sex hormone binding globulin, that tells us how much of that testosterone is bound up, which is not free testosterone. And then you may want some other hormones in there as well. So what's going on around insulin? I like A1C as a 3-month average of blood sugars. Thyroid, if you hadn't had thyroid looked at in a while, TSH, T3, T4, or a complete thyroid panel. That's always good to have at some point. Those come to mind. Vitamin D, I'm all about a person getting a vitamin D checked probably once a year. You may want to do it more often if your vitamin D is low. For example, if it's 15 or 20, which I've seen, that's not high enough in my opinion. That's not optimal. And so it may take a considerable amount of vitamin D3, preferably with fish oil and K2, to get those levels up. And the only way to know if the levels are actually coming up the way that you want them to is to get additional blood work done. So those are some of the basics that should be performed, and your PCP can absolutely, if he or she is willing to do so, order those tests and get you that covered under insurance. So that may be a good place to start. I would say that if you do get the blood work done and for some reason your hormones are low, let's just say testosterone, just proceed with caution if that primary care physician is going to prescribe you testosterone. And I'm really thinking about the delivery system, pellets, creams, gels, injections. There's all sorts of types of delivery systems. But also frequency matters. So for example, if you're low on testosterone and your doctor prescribes you an injectable and says, hey, come back and see me in 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks I give you that injection. You might want to rethink that. That is not ideal. That's not a good dosing protocol, because you're going to experience highs and lows because you're running through the half-life of that testosterone ester, whether it's cypionating, anthate, etc. But otherwise, the PCP and you're using your insurance, that's not a bad place to start. And by the way, not everybody needs testosterone or hormone replacement therapy, but pretty much everyone should know what's going on with their blood work. And so again, that's an excellent starting point. The second method that I like a lot is simply just it's a few clicks away online, and it's discountedlabs.com. I really like these guys. I know the owner personally. I trust him. He's a good man. He offers an excellent service through discountedlabs.com. Very affordable, probably the cheapest around. They're at least the cheapest that I've ever found. And it's simple. No doctor needed, because a doctor oversees the entire program, and if they're applicable in your state, and they are available in a lot of states. They're not quite there yet in Louisiana, but that's in the works, so that should happen soon. But basically, the way discountedlabs.com works is you essentially click on the tests that you want or need, put those in the shopping cart, pay for them, and then within a day or two, you're given a requisition, and you take that to your local lab place where they draw blood, and typically within a week you have results sent back to your inbox, and it's fantastic. So they can run all sorts of tests. There's one in there that I like. It's like a complete male pre-TRT panel, and it's currently like $259.27. You could throw in a vitamin D test too from discountedlabs.com, and I think it's like $61. So for a little over $300, you could be well on your way. Now from there, You may need some help reading those labs, and if that's the case, I'm not a medical provider, but you can ping me, and I'm happy to walk you through what I know, and or get you steered to an actual medical provider that can help you out. But that's also a great option, and I personally use this kind of labs. A third option would be to go directly to a sort of hormone specialist, healthcare specialist. And there's a lot of T clinics that are popping up all over the place. I can't speak to those. I've never used one. I'm happy that they're prescribing hormones to those men out there that need those hormones. I do sometimes wonder about the cookie cutter approach. I'm not a big fan. You know, a man goes and he seems to always get 200 milligrams of testosterone, HCG, Arimidex at some dose. And I believe it's a bit cookie cutter. It's not always bad, but there could be a better protocol out there. And so may not be the case for if you're using one of those clinics. They may be fantastic. That's just something to look out for. If you're in Texas, Ways to Well is an option that I've used, and a handful of the Thumos brothers have used, and we've been very happy with Ways to Well. Denise specifically has taken very good care of our guys, and it's just fantastic the way she walks through the lab work and goes line by line to give sort of quantitative and qualitative data on what's going on with each of the health markers, and I very much appreciate that. Also, Defy Medical. We recently signed or not signed, but we have an affiliate partnership with Defy, and I think that's going to be fantastic. I'm pretty excited about that for all the guys out there. So Defy is going to be one-stop shopping, and so what I mean by that, when you call Defy, by the way, if you do, use the Thumos referral, and I'll put the link below that you can click on. That'll give you a discount, just like the same with discounted labs as well. If you click below and you do decide to use them, you'll get a discount for doing so. But for Defy Medical, it's essentially one-stop shopping. So you call them and you get started, and they can provide the lab work, which is everything that you'll need in order to get started. And then you'll have an initial consultation. I think you have to do a physical somewhere, a local. I believe you can even get it done at like a local CVS or something like that if you don't have it from your normal doctor. But they're telemedicine, so they physically want to see. They want someone to see the person, which kind of makes sense. And then there'll be an initial consultation, and then if needed, medications are prescribed, and those medications can actually be mailed directly to the man. So those are three options when it comes to getting started with testosterone or hormones. I'll conclude with it's extremely important to get lab work, blood work done on some frequency. Maybe that's once a year, which is probably on the infrequent side, if you ask me. If you're on testosterone, it may be every 6 months. If you're just starting out, you may need to go back 3 months into it to see what's going on around your hormones. But blood work is important, so make sure that you're staying on top of it. And so hope that helps. Have a great day. Thanks.